Welcome back to What's the Story? Today, we are exploring a site whose past was utopian, whose present is uncertain, and whose future is currently locked in a fiery public battle. We are sailing out onto Lake Ontario to dive into the full dramatic story of Ontarioplace. Located on 3 stunning artificial islands just off the shore of downtown Toronto, Ontarioplace was conceived as a symbol of architectural innovation and provincial pride. It was a theme park without rides, a cultural beacon that housed the world's first permanent IMAX theater, and a beloved family destination for over 4 decades. But the story doesn't end with nostalgia. Its closure in 2012 marked the beginning of a complex, controversial chapter involving private megaspas, public parkland, and a fundamental debate over who controls Toronto's precious waterfront. This is the complete saga of Ontarioplace, the fading future. As always, my name is Cody. I run this channel with my partner Katie. Welcome or welcome back to What's the Story? A reminder, if you do find today's video interesting and informative, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories told by yours truly. Now, grab a snack and a blanket and let's dive in. The creation of Ontarioplace was not a commercial venture. It was a political and architectural statement. In the late 1960s, Premier John Robarts wanted to build a lasting exhibit to celebrate Ontario's past and future following the success of Expo 67 in Montreal. He envisioned a site that would revitalize Toronto's neglected waterfront and provide a sense of provincial identity. The challenge was given to a team of architects led by Eb Zeidler, and the result was nothing short of revolutionary. Ontarioplace opened on May 22, 1971, and was unlike anything built before it. The central concept was that architecture should be dynamic and temporary. To achieve this, Zeidler designed a massive complex on 3 man-made islands constructed using 13 million cubic yards of landfill. The structures were built using an innovative system of tension and prefabricated steel. The centerpiece was the Cinesphere, a massive white geodesic dome that housed the world's very first permanent IMAX projection system. Surrounding it were the pods, 5 futuristic hexagonal exhibition pavilions suspended dramatically above a man-made lagoon. These pods, resting on columns, looked like space stations docked over water, connected by graceful steel bridges. The whole site was sheltered by a marina, where 3 aging lake freighters were intentionally sunk to create a breakwater. Ontarioplace was not just a park. It was a functioning piece of utopian modernist art. It was Canada's architectural salute to the future. For nearly 2 decades, Ontarioplace was wildly successful. It became an essential part of the Toronto summer experience. The attractions weren't typical amusement park fare. They were focused on education, culture, and nature. The pods housed rotating exhibits showcasing Ontario's industries, art, and geography. The Cinesphere became a legendary cinematic experience, mesmerizing audiences with high-definition, immersive films that took full advantage of the massive screen. For children, the site included a massive children's village, known for its elaborate climbing nets, ball pits, and water features, a masterpiece of structured play that felt adventurous and wild. And then there was the music. The Forum, an outdoor amphitheater with a distinctive revolving stage, hosted generations of iconic musical acts. Seeing a show at the Forum was a rite of passage for music fans in southern Ontario, with the lawn seats overlooking the lake and the city skyline providing an atmosphere that was unparalleled. The site successfully embodied its original mandate. It was a place of provincial pride that showcased the arts, technology, and natural beauty of Ontario, all within an accessible, futuristic landscape. By the 1990s, the shine began to fade. The unique, mid-century modernist architecture, once futuristic, now began to look dated. More importantly, the theme park landscape had changed dramatically. Competition from massive, ride-focused theme parks like Canada's Wonderland drew away the younger, thrill-seeking audience. Ontarioplace, centered on educational exhibits and gentle attractions, struggled to compete with high-speed roller coasters. In an attempt to stay relevant, the government made changes that arguably diluted the original vision. The revolving forum was demolished in 1995 and replaced by the larger, less architecturally unique Mosin Canadian Amphitheater, now the RBC Echo Beach/Budweiser stage. While the new venue successfully drew major musical acts, the architectural purity of the original site was compromised. Operating costs soared, and maintenance on the aging, complex steel structures became astronomical. The park began running consistent and significant deficits. Attendance, while still respectable, could not sustain the cost of maintaining the aging infrastructure. By the 2000s, Ontarioplace was widely viewed by the provincial government not as a cultural asset, but as an expensive problem. In February 2012, the Ontario government, under Premier Dalton McGuinty, announced that the theme park portion of Ontarioplace would close indefinitely for redevelopment. The closure was swift and permanent, shutting down the pods, the children's village, and all family attractions. The decision was met with mixed feelings, sadness for the loss of a nostalgic landmark, but acknowledgement that the park had become unsustainable in its current form. The initial years after the closure were characterized by uncertainty, but some positive changes did emerge. In 2017, the province unveiled Trillium Park and the William G. Davis Trail on the East Island. This 7.5-acre green space was a massive win for public access, transforming a paved parking lot into a stunning, naturalized parkland with meadows, forests, and beautiful vantage points of the lake and the city skyline. This new park section was freely accessible and instantly beloved, setting a precedent that the waterfront should be for everyone. Simultaneously, the Cinesphere was meticulously restored and reopened, utilizing state-of-the-art IMAX digital projection alongside its original 70mm capability, allowing a new generation to experience the unique cinematic power of the dome. The RBC Amphitheater also continued to operate, cementing its status as a vital concert venue. These reopenings demonstrated that the site could thrive not as a ticketed theme park, but as a public-facing cultural and park space. This brings us to the current, highly charged chapter of the Ontarioplace saga. In 2021, the Ontario government, under Premier Doug Ford, announced a controversial deal to redevelop 145 acres of the site. The core of this plan involves giving a 95-year lease of the West Island to the Swiss company Therm Group to build a massive, private, for-profit indoor water park and spa facility. The announcement immediately ignited a firestorm of public opposition for several key reasons. Public consultation. The plan was negotiated entirely behind closed doors without any public consultation, violating established principles of waterfront development. Private access. The Therm development would occupy the majority of the West Island, effectively privatizing what was once public land. Critics argue that public land should not be leased for nearly a century to a single for-profit corporation. The cost. The development requires massive taxpayer investment for supporting infrastructure, including a proposed $650 million multi-level underground parking garage and new bridge access. The government is spending hundreds of millions to prepare the site for a private spa. Architectural heritage. The plan necessitates the demolition of the 5 original Eb Zeidler pods and the entire western landscape to make way for the new facility, eradicating one of Canada's most important pieces of modernist architecture. Environmental concerns. The project has moved forward without comprehensive, independent environmental assessments, despite its location on sensitive landfill and in the lake. The controversy has led to the formation of grassroots organizations like Save Ontarioplace, which are fighting the government's plans in court and through public awareness campaigns. They argue that the entire site should be kept as public parkland, following the successful model of Trillium Park, and that the original architectural assets must be preserved. As of today, the future of Ontarioplace hangs in the balance. The government remains committed to the Thermi deal, while the public opposition is determined to save the Zeidler pods and keep the West Island publicly accessible. Ontarioplace is no longer just a nostalgic theme park. It is a battleground for the very soul of Toronto's waterfront. Its story teaches us that even the most visionary public works are not guaranteed permanence, and that the struggle for public space is always ongoing. We will continue to follow this story as it unfolds because the question remains: will the future of this iconic site honor its legacy of public access and architectural innovation, or will it be paved over for private gain? Join us next time on What's the Story as we explore another complex chapter of urban history and ask, what's the story behind? Hey there, before you take off, we'd just like to take a second and say that we really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Katie and I are so grateful for our beautiful community, so thank you for being a part of it. If you want to help What's the Story continue to grow, one of the easiest things you can do is leave a like on this video and consider subscribing. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well and select all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. We want you to know that we truly appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much, and we hope to see you soon.